Very good morning, children. Today we are going to start with the first chapter of class 11th book, Hornbill, prescribed by NCERT. The name of the chapter is The Portrait of a Lady. It has been written by Khushwant Singh. Khushwant Singh was born on 2nd February 1915, Hadali, Pakistan, and he died on 20th March 2014, Sujan Singh Park, Delhi. He was married to Kanwal Malik. He took his education from GCU, Punjab University, King's College London, the Dixon Poole School of Law and St. Stephen's College. Khushwant Singh was awarded Padma Vibhushan, Punjab Ratan Award, and he was a very well-known writer of Indian origin. He was a lawyer, diplomat, journalist and a politician. His experience in 1947, partition of India, inspired him to write Train to Pakistan in 1956, which became his most well-known novel. Now this story, The Portrait of a Lady, in this there is a heart-warming pen picture of Khushwant Singh's grandmother who brought him up. The author describes his association with his grandmother and the changes that came about in his life due to his grandmother and the relationship with the passage of time. Her simplicity and beauty left an indelible imprint on the poet's and the writer's mind. Khushwant Singh's grandmother was short, old and slightly bent. She hopped around the house telling the beads of her rosary. He had seen her look the same for 20 years, and to him it seemed that she was really old and could not grow older. It was difficult for Khushwant Singh to believe that she could have been young and pretty, to believe that she had a husband, to believe that she was a young one time. Her grandfather's portrait hung on the wall of the drawing room. He too looked very old, added very grandfatherly. Looking at his portrait, one could visualize that he had many grandchildren, but no one could imagine him in his youth with his wife and children. When Khushwant Singh was still young, his parents left for the city, leaving him to the care of his grandmother in the village. Grandmother and Khushwant Singh, they became very good friends. She woke him up each morning, bathed him, dressed him, plastered his wooden slate, gave him breakfast, a stale buttered chapati with sugar sprinkled on it, and walked him to school. The school was attached to a temple. While Khushwant Singh and the other children sat in the veranda learning the alphabets and morning prayers, the grandmother sat inside the temple reading scriptures. After they had both finished, they would head back home. On the way, she fed the dogs each day with the steel chapatis that she carried with her. When the writer's parents had settled in the city, they sent for them. This proved to be a turning point in their relationship. The only thing that remained unchanged was their common bedroom. She could not accompany Khushwant Singh to his school because now he was studying in a public school and a school bus used to come every day to take him to school. Now he went to an English school. She could not understand English and did not believe in the modern science. The fact that they were not taught about God made her unhappy. Khushwant Singh's learning music in school was something which was very offending for the grandmother. She became very unhappy as she felt that music was not meant for gentlefolk. Her communication with him deteriorated further. But it was when he went to the university and got a separate room that even this link was snapped. When the writer was going abroad, she went to the railway station to see him off, but did not speak a word. She only kissed him on the forehead. The writer believed this was their last physical contact, as he was going away for 5 years. But she was there when he returned and was delighted to see her there on the railway platform waiting for him. In the evening, she collected women from the neighborhood and beat the drum and sang for hours of the homecoming of warriors. For the first time, she missed her prayers. She was then taken slightly ill. The doctors reassured the family that there was nothing to worry, but she stopped talking. She said her end was near. She began to tell the beads of her rosary, and her lips were moving in a very monotonous manner. The author's grandmother was too weak to look older. Her face was a crisscross of wrinkles. She had looked the same since the author knew her. She was fat and a little stooped. In spite of her old age, she looked very attractive. It seems as if she had been waiting for the return of Khushwant Singh from after completing his education in London. She waited for him for all these 5 years, and then finally, when he came back, she sang and she missed her prayers, and finally she died. So this is the story. Thank you.